Hello everybody. Kind of a gloomy day here. 1 day shy of winter solstice. Cloudy, plus I don't know, the sun goes behind the mountain range at about 3:30 this time of year anyway. One of the things that really surprised me since moving to France from Southern California is how similar France is to California in key recreational ways. In fact, both have multiple mountain ranges. France has the Pyrenees and the Alps, and then the smaller mountain ranges of the Central Massif, and let me see, where else? The Vosges, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. California has essentially one long spine of mountain ranges, but they include the San Bernardino Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, the Cascade Mountain Ranges, and a bunch of other lesser mountain ranges as well. Both France and California are blessed with long coastlines. California, of course, has the Pacific Ocean. France has the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. Both are known for their athletic, temperate climates. Both are well known for their wine making and grape growing. And both have castles. California with the Hearst Castle and that thing in Death Valley. In France with, well, hundreds, if not thousands. Okay, that one's a joke. And both have, I'd say, a greater than average number of athletes and people that are really into outdoor recreation. So now that we've lived here for over 5 years, I thought I'd do a little comparison of the two and their recreational attributes. I've got to say, you know, coming from San Diego, which used to be known as Sports Town, USA. I think there was a Sports Illustrated or some other big magazine that termed it that. I was surprised at just how many people were just were just top outdoor athletes, and how many people participated in things like rock climbing, spelunking, I think it's called. Spelunking is going into caves, Nordic skiing, snowshoeing, mountain climbing, serious biking culture, although that's pretty popular in California too. And you know, it may be somewhat attributable to the fact that I live in Grenoble, but you know, like I said, I came from San Diego, which was also known as a sports town and also has major universities. So it's appeared to me that on the whole, France is more into outdoor recreating, and there's more clubs from what I can tell. There's more books in the bookstores dealing with the topic. It's just noticeable all the way around. There's also just more athletic recreational facilities around. I think both France and California make a real effort to build recreational facilities for kids and adults. You know, there's more of it is left to the private sector in California than in France. In France, there's just they're just everywhere. Playgrounds, petanque courts, basketball courts. You know, every little village seems to have a spectacular athletic facility. So, or at least group of villages share such a facility. And yeah, one of the first impressions I had coming to France is that, wow, France just really loves its children, that children just seem to have a higher priority here. And what I was basing that on was not only the longer school hours, which that's kind of a mixed bag, but just all the athletic facilities, sports facilities of different types, playgrounds and so forth. They just seem to be more prevalent here than they are in the US. It also makes sense because France just has more, French people just have a bit more free time. They have a 35-hour official 35-hour work week, have more generous vacation and employment benefits than we do in the US. And I think it's a culture that values its personal time more. You know, just you can even see it in the fact that stores are closed on Sundays. So it just offers more opportunities to participate in outdoor activities. As for beaches and oceans, California, it's almost synonymous with beaches and ocean. That's what you think of when you think of California: palm trees, beaches, surfing. But the surprising thing is, when you really get down to brass tacks, France has two oceans in two very different kind of styles. A much more generally placid ocean in the Mediterranean, at least as far as beaches go. Calm waters, beautiful rocky coves and cliffs, and crystal clear water. And then there's the Atlantic, where they have big wide beaches, fantastic surfing spots, and you know, a great variety of different types of beach environments, whether it's down in the southern part or up towards Brittany. As for mountain ranges, while they both have fantastic mountain assets, let me see, where do I go with this one? First of all, California's mountain ranges are basically all along one spine. So whether they're called the Sierras or the Cascades or the San Bernardino Mountains, it is one lengthy spine of mountains. I'm not sure that makes much difference, whereas France's mountains are more scattered about. And they also have, you know, which would be kind of more similar to California, there are also sub-mountain ranges of the Alps. The Alps also have a mountain culture and history and tradition that you don't really find in the Sierras. Mont Blanc is not only the highest mountain in the Alps, but it's also higher than Mount Whitney. The Alps also, at least for a little while longer, have substantial glaciers, although those are disappearing quickly with climate change. And, you know, the Alps themselves just, you know, I've always wanted this my whole life. I think we all have. Is like, why do the Alps just look so spectacular compared to mountains in the US that are, you know, similar with rocky granite faces and so forth, but just don't have anything like the Matterhorn. Of course, that's Switzerland, not France. But there's just so many steep, spectacular spires, like I'd call them, that you don't find in California or anywhere in the US. One of the, I think, most important advantages that France has over California is the expensive recreation. Much less expensive in France. Whether it's skiing, where the tickets are anywhere from 1/4 to 1/10 as much as they are in California, to just about everything. We belong to a small sailing club, much more you know, tiny than the one we belong to in the US, but it was you couldn't even compare the price. It was $200 for the year, 200 euros for the year for a whole family, versus $2,500 initiation fee plus $150 a month in the US. And what did we get in France for that? In France, we got the full use of all the boats at the club, which included everything from small sailing boats to stand-up paddleboards, the canoes, the kayaks, you name it. In the US, in our club in the US, we got to use the beach. We got free parking. We were on our own about boats. Anyway, so that's another example. And everything is much less expensive to get involved in recreation here. And there's just so many more clubs here. Athletic clubs, mountaineering clubs, you name it, than there is in the US. Trying to get across a bunch of traffic here. Another thing that helps both with expense and accessibility is there's much better transportation infrastructure to get to those recreational areas, particularly the mountains. I mean, you can get to ski areas here on the public transportation system, which is unheard of in California. All right, this next one applies particularly to surfing, but also is kind of true for skiing. And it's surprising because, you know, on the whole, Europe is densely populated compared to the US. But anyway, that advantage is, as far as I've noticed, there's less localism in France. So what that means in surfing is, you know, when you get north of Osagar and all the way up to the rest of the coast north of Osagar in France, there's big, wide, empty beaches and shifting sandbars, so you can find wonderful surf with no one out, which is unheard of in California. And you know, it's a bit true also for skiing. You know, there's just more ski areas, more ski randonnée, in other words, backcountry skiing. And so yeah, there's that. Finally, there is there's the tradition and culture that you have in France that is just more or less missing in the US because it's such a new country in comparison. So there's all the wonderful foods that come from little villages that have been making the cheese or the wine or you name it for centuries. There's just the fact that skiing was invented over here. There's just a real rich cultural tapestry you find here that you don't find in the US. The ski areas, most of them are intertwined with little historic villages. Some of the ski areas, the ones I like the most, the little ski areas, are operated and owned by those little villages. So yeah, I love my California. I'll always be a Californian at heart. But I gotta hand it to my new home. You know, all the things that we hear about as far as a better, more live first, live before work kind of priority in France manifests itself as well in the recreational opportunities here.